Welcome to r/Reddit Revenge. This is a story of someone getting back at someone with revenge after being wronged. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. The first story: scammers attempt to hijack my PC, but I play dumb and hijack their time instead, wasting their efforts. The second story: after enduring false accusations from a female IT director, she was later fired and escorted out by security. My subtle retaliation involves sending a gift card. The third story: when my nephew stole $300 for Fortnite, my mom didn't make him repay. Now, I send her money on his birthdays and Christmas, excluding him. On to the first story is: you think I'm stupid enough to fall for your scam? You have no idea. When I got a call from someone claiming to be from Microsoft and telling me there was a problem with my computer, I knew I was getting scammed. They get victims to allow a remote computer to access their machine and install whatever spyware and malware they want. I had some free time, so I thought I'd entertain myself. When he said he wanted me to open my computer, I told him, okay, but this will take a little while. I'd make all sorts of metal-sounding noises and grunt occasionally. Okay, it's open, now what? It took several minutes and nothing happening and my naive descriptions before he clued into the fact that I had taken the case off my computer and unplugged it from everything. Actually, I was just doing the dishes. It took several more minutes to get the case back on and figure out which wires went where. You know, my cousin set this up for me, so I don't know about it so much. It's pretty hard, you know? Now, how is it you know my computer has problems? He goes on about TCP/IP and whatnot, and I'm baffled, of course. Does that mean Microsoft is spying on me? No? Then how come you know my computer is so slow? He goes on about junk files, but his pronunciation is so bad that I hear something entirely different and have to make him spell it out phonetically. Oh, junk files. I thought you were saying something different. My computer is very slow naturally, so it takes some time to boot. Okay, I'm putting in my password. Dang, I spelled it wrong. Just a minute. Dang, I got the big letter key stuck or something. It does that sometimes. Say, how come they have that key anyway? Why is it so big? How come it's so much bigger than the delete key? I use the delete key a lot more than that one. Hell, I never use that one. He has me look for the Windows key on the keyboard. It's next to the control key. Control key? Is that a key I'm supposed to use for something? That sounds important. Can I control stuff with that? My buddy can control his TV with his computer. Is that what that's for? That should probably be a big key if it's so important. Bigger than that big letter key anyway. It takes several minutes to get him to finally get me to run the dialog box. By that point, I've had to shout to someone off camera that I'm busy and I'll be with him soon. I did this 3 times before finally telling the helpful technician that I have to go because some idiot needs my help. I don't know what the hell they do without me here. I tell the technician that he can call me later when I'm out. He calls the next day and let him run through the whole script again, careful to give him repeat stuff we covered before. I apologize about not being able to stay on the phone with him before. You know, I told those guys to take the doors off before they go downstairs with the fridge. I told them, but they got stuck and the guy at the bottom couldn't get the door off, so we had to get a guy to get the tools and climb over the fridge, so he could have the other guy get the door off. I'm just glad that wasn't a good fridge. You know, we had that fridge for the longest time. It was a good fridge, but it was just running all the time, and the ice didn't get cold enough, and so anyway, we decided. He hands me over to another tech, and I have him go through the issues about my computer again, and he has to step me through the process. When I press the Windows key, I'm careful to release it before pressing R, so instead of the Run dialog box, Windows pulls up all the programs starting with the letter R. It takes some minutes for the tech to figure out what I've done. I finally get the Run command. I'm supposed to enter a web address and he gives me every letter phonetically and makes me repeat it back. Yeah, I got it. Shown my PC. Spelled shown my PC. He hears that as show my PC and can't figure out why it's not working. After several respellings, we get it right. At this point, I'm editing some images and can quickly jump between his requests and my real work on the computer. So I'm not wasting too much of my own time. Yeah, well, something popped up, but it's all white. What? Oh, it says something about not being able to find it. After some retries, I asked if my computer should be connected to the internet. Oh, okay. Let's go find that wire. You know, I don't use this so much. Just to check email from my cousin. Maybe my wife should do this. You want to talk to her? No, it's alright, she's downstairs. It'll only take a minute. No, just wait here. She uses this more than me. He's still on the line when I get back. Nah, she says she's too busy. I don't know why she's so busy when this is so important. I ramble on about something. I have no luck connecting to show my PC, of course, so he tells me he's going to transfer me to another technician. During the transfer, I hang up. He calls back a few minutes later apologizing about losing me. I make the new tech run me through the commands to get to run, and I screw them all up again. Just when we get to the point where he can almost taste the access to my machine, I start into a rambling story and hang up. He calls back a minute later and apologizes. I go back to my story, and just as we get to the climax, I hang up again. Before he gets a chance to call back, I call a talkative friend and spend an hour shooting the breeze. Within minutes of hanging up, the phone rings. I let the machine get it, but the caller does not leave a message. It rings again and again and still no message. I'll wait until later today and pick up the phone and make up a good story. I wonder how long I can keep this fish on the hook. Whenever I feel like it, I'll string them on a string. Of course, I don't have access to the internet. It'll take me 20 minutes to switch on my computer, because it's old and infected as you can imagine. Then when they tell me to connect to their website, I'll spend 10 minutes trying to find the W on my keyboard, and every attempt will be ruined by an error. When I'm done with the process, after finding every key and getting lost, I'll ask, is it saying it can't connect? And when they ask, are you connected to the internet? I will answer, Internet, are you selling it? It looks serious. You also demonstrated tolerance and the ability to kindly send back the same fee that was offered to you. It looks like you had fun playing the scam game, and it was well worth your time. The second story is, sometimes the best petty revenge is living well, and other times it's sending a gift certificate. I worked for a company that had a change of IT directors a few months before yearly reviews. The new IT director, we'll call female sociopath, was always nice to me when she was the manager of another group, but once she became director of the entire IT team, she tried to crucify me. I worked long hours to move servers to the disaster recovery site, having gained real awards and compliments via emails on how good of a job I did. Yearly review comes around and female sociopath wants to put me on probation. I'm absolutely floored and I ask why. She doesn't give me a good reason, but tells me I have to come to HQ, which is 3 hours drive, to get more information. She literally waits 3 months before I get my full review, while they had me come up to HQ twice. The first time they didn't do the review and had me do my usual work that I did back at home. WTF? By the end of the 3rd month, I was threatening to go to HR if they didn't do it soon. Female sociopath and my manager, who didn't seem to mind throwing me under the bus, get me into her office, and she proceeds to tell me things I supposedly did wrong from the start of the new year, not reviewing anything I did last year. Some of the stuff she reviewed, I had emails backing me up saying that I did a good job, while the rest of the review was just outright lies and fabrications. I talk back to her saying she's incorrect, that I have documentation saying what a good job I did, or that what she's reviewing has nothing to do with the work I did last year. She gets angry with me and threatens to bring in HR. I said, let's bring HR in. Unfortunately, as expected, HR is no help and backs her up. I immediately give 2 weeks' notice, walk out the door and drive home. I find later that week from former coworkers that female sociopath complained about me to everyone, and that I'd be on conference calls with her and the rest of the group, where she would put the speakerphone on mute and literally make fun of me right in front of the rest of the coworkers. They didn't say a word to me until I quit. Cowards. But here's where the petty revenge part comes in. Thanks for sticking with the story. Female sociopath was also banging one of my former fellow coworkers. We'll name him Boy Toy, who of course never came into work, nor did any work and yet still got paid. We all knew this, but because I was not working in HQ, I only knew it as a rumor, not a fact. If I had known it for a fact, I would have said something to HR before I quit. Found out a month later after I quit that one of my other former coworkers, we'll call him Gutsy Hero, got sick of doing Boy Toy's work. He also had his own work to do. Thus went to HR, telling him to look at the logins and emails to see that Boy Toy wasn't working, and yet was getting paid. HR had female sociopath and Boy Toy come in the next day, fired their A's, and then walked them out via security and police. My piece of the petty revenge, other than getting karmic satisfaction, I sent a $50 gift certificate with a nice thank you card to Gutsy Hero, explaining that he was my hero for doing the job that nobody else would do, which was getting female sociopath fired. I sent it directly to the HQ office, and he sat fairly close to my former manager, so I hope he showed it to everyone. I was later told that because sociopathic female couldn't find another high-paying IT job, let alone any IT job, her house was foreclosed on and she's deeply in debt. She actually tried to borrow some money from yet another former coworker of mine and he said hell no. You've shown extraordinary tolerance and courage when faced with unfairness and aggression from the new head of IT. Your response to the unfair year-end review where they tried to put you on probation was smart and courageous. The way you signed off and left the company was a bold move, and it appeared to work out in your favor. The employees who witnessed female sociopath and boy toy's inappropriate behavior did not immediately intervene, but ultimately did the right thing by reporting the misconduct to HR. In addition, the fact that female sociopath and boy toy lost their jobs and found themselves in a difficult financial situation shows that justice does triumph over wrongdoing. The story also teaches us that it's important to fight for justice and get out of unjust situations, and to remember the importance of supporting our colleagues. Your story is a reminder that justice always wins. The third story is, steal from grandma? You're losing out on that money one way or another. As Christmas time rolls around, I still feel petty towards my nephew. My mom lived with me for a few years while getting back on her feet. She doesn't have much money, but she would always help out her kids if they needed it, even if she really shouldn't. One of my nephews, around 10 years old at the time, asked to borrow my Nintendo Switch so he could play Fortnite. I said yes because I never played it. After a bit, he asked my mom, his grandma, for $10 for the Battle Pass. She said yes and stupidly put her credit card in his account for it. Some point in the future, another $10 or so was charged to it. On accident, according to the nephew. Oh well, not a big deal. She let it go. Maybe it's lack of experience, but I find the whole account thing between Nintendo Switch, Epic Games, and Fortnite to be confusing. I tried over and over to delete her card info out of the accounts, but he would always get it back somehow. I don't think he could have written her info down. My brother had to drive 45 minutes to get the Switch to me to delete the info. Over the next year or two, he charged something like $300 to the credit card, outside of the times she gave him permission. Somehow it was always a mistake, and he would immediately text and apologize, and got to where he asked us not to tell his parents. My mom wouldn't do anything about it other than tell him to stop. I tried to stay out of it because it was between them. So I got fed up after a certain point. Texted brother to bring me my Switch back and I was keeping it. Told him about all the charges. My brother's always used my mom for money, including stealing from her. So he acted concerned, but really, he couldn't/wouldn't pay her back. He brought it back to me. Nephew kept asking me to have it back and was apologizing, but the answer was no. That wasn't enough for me. Mom wasn't going to force them to pay back the money, but I couldn't keep myself out of it any longer. I decided the nephew wouldn't be getting the $25 to $50 gifts he normally gets for Christmas and birthdays. He could pay back his debt over the next 3 to 6 years, and I'd make sure she got it since we have some linked bank accounts. It's been 2 years now without any gifts from me. He may not even notice, but I do and I feel good about it. She still buys him gifts, of course, but she's being repaid one way or another. You have a few years to express your position to him and show him that it was wrong, especially if it seems that the relationship in the family is not yet fully developed. You don't have to be harsh about it, just let him know. If your brother tells you to stop, then listen to him and respond with a smile, explaining that you're just sharing the information with your nephew because you know he wanted to pay back your mother. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.